Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of mind-numbing local news. This is episode 383 now, would you believe? And joining us, as always, is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hi, mate. Yeah, still preparing for my imminent move. It's just there's a lot going on, but it's looking okay, I think.
You sounded very strained there. You said that, Rob. You sounded like when you listened back to the podcast, your voice went very odd. You sounded like a man about to have a nervous breakdown. It is stressful. I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a man on the edge, Alex.
The difference is, Rob, is that you have 3 pairs of hands to help with the move. You got Lyra, and surely it can't be too hard to train her up to carry boxes, other equipment, put them on her back, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have obviously been doing that, but it turns out her capacity to lift is quite limited. And if anything, it's a hindrance. Usually, she'll lift a box, but that box has to be empty. So, it's virtually useless, Alex. And we've tried her with rucksacks, tried to balance things on their head, and she's just not having it, Alex.
Rob, I'm sorry about this. Did you know there's a woman out there claiming to be grown-up Madeleine McCann?
Yes, I did. I was aware of that, yeah.
I need to read about that.
Okay.
Right, this is
good.
This is from the Daily Record. By Amber O'Connor. Again, I had some great stories in the in the Patreon, always great stories then. I had some great stories in the last regular. I remember that lobster story. This kind of, I don't know, I love this story. It's by Amber O'Connor, as I say, lifestyle writer, and Lewis Moynihan. It's from the 12th of February, 2023, so we're going back a bit. Woman left furious as child singing Frozen song for an hour ruined celebratory meal.
Well, it would, Alex. There's no one's disputing that Frozen is a good film, although personally I prefer Frozen too.
I haven't seen Frozen.
Oh, you should do. Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Right.
But there's only so many times you can hear that song, and if you're out for a celebration, you want to hear "Celebration" by Lionel Richie.
A woman has been left furious after a child singing... I did hear that, Rob. I just couldn't think of a response. A woman has been left furious after a child singing a Frozen song for an hour ruined her celebratory meal out. The frustrated diner slammed the couple who let their young daughter sing the same tune on repeat, reports The Mirror. She took to social media to explain the child was blasting out, "Let it go, let it go," etc. from the hit Disney film for the duration of her meal. Posting on Mumsnet, the woman was baffled as to why her parents didn't stop her. She said near us was a group which was a young couple. So, sorry, just say, Rob, this is one of... For anybody who doesn't know, Rob and I have been, obviously covering local news journalism for a long time, and one of the things they've started to do in their increasing desperation is trawl online forums like Mumsnet, or online communities like Reddit, and try and find people complaining about stuff and then write it up as if it's a story. Yeah, it's quite brilliant.
No, Alex, it's not just that. Sometimes they also go onto TripAdvisor, look at bad reviews, and then try to work up a few words on that.
Yep. So she said, near us was a group, which was a young couple with their 2 children. One was a babe in arms who cried. Fair enough, baby's crying after a while of not being able to quiet him or her. Dad went out and walked around outside. I much appreciated that he did that. However, the other girl, a girl of about 5 or 6, was allowed to sing at the top of her voice for over an hour. Despite calming their baby, the woman was annoyed that the couple didn't take similar action for the young girl. She claims the entire restaurant was staring. The woman added, "I get it's hard to manage kids in public sometimes, but you could see people looking from all over the restaurant. If we'd been in a local pub, I would not have thought twice. But in a place which is way out of most people's usual daily reach, am I unreasonable to think those parents should have said something to this child and told her to stop?" Rob, is she being unreasonable?
Yes.
Is she? I've come out for a nice restaurant, Robert. It's costing 20 quid upwards just for a bloody starter. And this kid is singing for an hour. You're telling me that's okay? You'd allow Lyra to do that, would you? Would you?
Well, I'd like to know first of all what kind of establishment it was. If they were McDonald's, then I'd have no issue with this in the slightest.
Because it was a Wimpy.
It was a Wimpy, right? Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Then I think that that's what you should expect from that.
Rob, have you been to a Wimpy recently? I was talking to a handyman recently who went to a Wimpy, and I didn't know that apparently their food is quite good.
I think we covered this before, Alex, because I actually went to Wimpy during lockdown. They were doing a delivery service when I lived in Loughton.
Are their burgers good? He told me they're like proper burgers. Is he overselling it?
Yeah. In a word, yeah. It was Alex, it was fine. It tasted like a burger. I remember the chips weren't particularly good, I don't think.
So is it like on a par with like a Burger King? Because I love a Burger King.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know. I'll put it below Burger King personally.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, further explaining her annoyance in the comment, the diner added, I'm usually quite laid back about it, but in a place where lunch is going to cost £60 to £70 minimum before drinks.
Okay. Right.
Lunch,
yeah,
sorry,
different.
First of all, I ain't paying £60, £70 for lunch, right? I'll just be clear about that now.
No, nor me.
But yeah, that goes without saying. But Rob, so do you accept it now? This happening now?
Okay. If that's yeah, I do. I mean, also, I would say that in that kind of situation, because we're talking, it sounds like you're talking like a sort of a mid to high end restaurant. I'd also say that maybe the waiting staff should have stepped in.
The woman's dining dilemma. If there's an episode title, maybe there was quick to stir up conversation on social media with people keen to share their thoughts on the incident. Many people were quick to agree with the woman's point of view. One person said, I hate noisy kids. I can't cope with my own shouting or singing. Another stated, that sounds very annoying. Is that really the best they've got? Sorry, that sounds very annoying. Someone else agreed, writing, absolutely ridiculous. Them, not you, so inconsiderate. My 5-year-old has his faults, but absolutely knows how to behave in a restaurant and wouldn't even go on like that in a McDonald's. No matter what it costs you, you should be mindful of others. So this is how the Daily Record are able to keep themselves going, Rob, and keep themselves in print with real bottom of the barrel stories like this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the comments, which of course I'm having now to... It should be my right not to look at these adverts, Rob, shouldn't it?
Absolutely, Alex. I couldn't agree more.
Comments. Viv78 says, a mum gave a young child a hot chocolate in a well-known store. They went to ground floor where furniture is. The child tripped and threw the chocolate over the back of the sofa. The store had to knock off £1,000 off the price. I know because I work there. Nobody could say anything. Absolutely disgraceful. There's no punctuation in any of that comment.
But that's an accident. That wasn't intentional.
GMR88 says, instead of moaning to a newspaper, why not ask the parents to keep the child quiet, speak to the manager or leave yourself? No, instead of taking action, you go home and moan to a newspaper anonymously. Maybe the mum thought no one minded because no one bothered to pipe up. Now, what I want to say in this woman's defence is this woman hasn't complained to anybody. The Daily Record is trawling Mumsnet for stories. You need to understand how local news journalism works now. Right. Okay, Rob, I got another story. Local news. Cornwall Live. I love this story. It's from Lee Trewheeler, who's their features writer and senior reporter. It's going back a bit from the 10th of February. I've got a lot of stories in my inbox. McDonald's to remove tasteless sign, Rob, opposite Cornwall crematorium.
I happen to actually spot this story. Yeah, it is brilliant. Yeah,
it is. We were just talking about burgers, so it's perfect. Burger giant McDonald's has said it will remove a tasteless sign opposite a crematorium in Cornwall after the unfortunate coincidental placement was pointed out by Cornwall Live. Now, as episodes titles go, I think unfortunate coincidental placement of something, I'll leave you to work that out, could work. Although the advertising hoarding has caused hilarity among motorists who spot it on the busy A39, others fear it may upset grieving families. The sign advertising the fast food chain's McCrispy Burger is right next to a crematorium sign that has been placed on a bus stop directly opposite Penmount Crematorium on the road between Truro and Carland Cross. One woman whose mother-in-law was cremated at the establishment last year said, although I can see the funny side, it is tasteless, and I'm sure some grieving family members won't like to see it when visiting Penmount for the funeral and cremation of a loved one. So I just want to pick her up on that. It's not tasteless. I've had them at Crispy Burger, and it is very, very nice. But isn't it? It's got a lot of flavour.
What is it?
Have you not tried it yet? Oh, Rob, you're missing out. So
No.
So McDonald's, they've had done their McChicken sandwich for years.
Yeah.
The McCrispy is a rival to a KFC sort of chicken burger. It's got those kind of flavours in the batter. It's very nice. And it feels like you get a lot of chicken. I'm getting hungry, yeah.
Sounds lovely.
When a Cornwall Live reporter asked people what they thought of the sign, someone replied, I think how funny it is will probably depend on how long ago you followed the crematorium sign wearing a black tie. When we shared an image of the sign, it was largely greeted with hilarity among the the comments were, anyone who doesn't find this funny are the same people who were taken into consideration when the Penmount Hotel in Newquay became Penberthy Care Home. It was thought some wouldn't see the funny side of a building full of older folk sharing the same name as the corporation body Furnace. I like that comment. I'm looking at the right, it's a country road, Rob. There's a sign pointing to the left saying crematorium.
Yeah.
And directly next to it is a bus stop with a huge advert on it saying McCrispy 100% chicken breast fillet, a new favourite, here to stay, which is also quite upsetting if you've just lost a loved one, because of course they're not here to stay, they're dead.
Alex, but yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. But let's be honest, this is just a coincidence. It's McDonald's trying to advertise a new product, and unfortunately there's the bus stop there.
Nobody's saying it's not a coincidence, Rob, but McDonald's are acknowledging that it's tactless and they are taking action.
Fair enough.
I'm looking now at the new bus stop. So now there is an advert there for flame grilled Whopper. So
right. That's a lot better. Yeah, brilliant.
Other comments about this were no worse than our local council entertaining the idea of allowing a crematorium to be built next door to a retirement village.
I mean, is that tasteless or is that just... That's forward planning, isn't
Practical,
it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Another person said, fell off the chair laughing. And of course, I'm loving it, the change slogan. Someone who works in advertising at sites in Cornwall said, not me, luckily, I do have sympathy, however. Cornwall Council, which runs the crematorium and owns the bus shelter, said it was unable to comment on the matter. McDonald's is taking it seriously, though. When shown a photograph of the sign, a spokesperson said, we were unaware of the road sign in the vicinity of this bus stop. However, in light of the concerns raised by Cornwall Live, we've asked for our advertisement to be removed. Rumours it will be replaced... Oh, Rob, I can't believe this. Rumours that it will be replaced by a poster advertising Burger King's Flame Grilled Whopper couldn't be substantiated as we went to press. So there you are, all great minds think alike, because I had not read that story. Comment, Gimmicker says, come to Sutton in South London / Surrey. The Sutton Life Centre is right next to the Sutton Cemetery.
Love it.
Natty 1988 says, I've never laughed so much in all my life. Ha 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 ha.
Just to make that point, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Lighthouse 45 says it's April the 1st as always. Liz Truss says tasteless as always. This time it's beneficial for people's health, a bit of a laugh. Reasonable Ray says I'll have large fries to go with my crispy naan, please. Sid Lexia says I like mine medium rare. And Trigger and his doggo says, when I saw McDonald's remove tasteless, I thought they were revamping their menu. My mum always says that burgers shouldn't be cremated.
Doesn't really make sense. But yeah.
And Red just says, okay, in general, I don't mind dark humour, but objectively, it's not for everyone. Sure as daylight, though, the free advertisement tactic works. So he maintains, Rob, that McDonald's did this deliberately to gather publicity for their new McCrispy burger, which I cannot recommend highly enough, and hopefully will keep the lawyers at bay for all the things we've said about McDonald's over the years.
I'm loving it.
Okay, Rob, you got some stories for us.
Yeah, Alex, there's some ridiculous stories out there, and then there's this. So this is from the Mirror. It's from the 11th of February by Florence Freeman. I'll be going back and forth on this because it is so ludicrous. But anyway, look, here we go. Proof of time travel as King Henry VIII spotted with Greg Steakbake in portrait.
So, Rob, on the last podcast, you revealed earth-shattering news at the end of it. I
yes.
respect the fact that you've allowed me to do my stories and not interrupted. But again, an interruption would be warranted. You're just saying we found proof of time travel. Henry VIII.
I hate to just drop into the conversation like this, but I don't understand why this is the headline news, Alex. I mean, you think people would understand the significance of this, but look.
Could it be, hang on a minute, just thinking outside, could it be that somebody's just spotted a fat bloke with a beard eating a steak bake outside of Greg's and thought it's Henry VIII?
No, Alex, this is a historic portrait of him. So someone's gone back in time, given Henry VIII a steak bake, and amazingly, it's been captured in ink. Or
sorry, Rob, what paper is this from?
The Mirror.
Okay.
Yes, it's not the Daily Star. It's a paper we can trust to an extent. So look, a man has bizarrely claimed that King Henry VIII's sandals could be Greg Steakbake's, which could make him a time traveller.
Right. No. Sorry. Why would he be wearing steak bakes on his feet, Rob?
Doesn't matter, Alex. I mean, time travel. That's why.
So he was trying to leave a clue for future generations. So am I allowed to look at this? Henry VIII Greg. So I'm just going to put into
that's
Google.
probably enough.
Proof of time travel. Right, here we go.
Thoughts, Alex?
So basically, because Henry VIII wore some sandals that had some sort of cutouts in them that they look like kind of like the top of a pastry.
Yes,
they do look slightly like pastries on his feet, but that's it. Just to go back to the word used earlier, that's a coincidence.
Time travel, Alex. Time travel.
Right.
Also, if you ask me, they look more like a McDonald's apple pie, but that's just me.
It does. Sorry, Rob. Enough advertising for McDonald's. To be fair, this man is being tongue in cheek. Now he posted it on Twitter. He doesn't seriously mean it, isn't he? Isn't he having a laugh and trying to? No,
I think he's being deadly serious. The Twitter user Luke from Manchester posted a picture of the former king's portrait and pointed out his footwear, which bore a striking resemblance to a steak bake. Luke questioned if the 19th century portrait proved the king time travelled to the future to visit the British bakery. In his tweet, he wrote, "Why do Henry VIII's shoes look like Greg's steak bakes?" The bakery chain was amused at this discovery. It tweeted in reply, "Losing our heads over this," in reference to his wife, who he had brutally murdered.
I didn't get that first time around. Yeah, you shouldn't really make fun of a decapitated wife. I mean, facts. Yeah. I think Greg should get some pushback for that. Don't do that anymore.
No, yeah, absolutely, Alex. One clever user wrote, shoe pastry, which I think was quite clever, actually, quite witty.
Sorry, what's that? I didn't get that.
Shoe pastry. It's a type of pastry, shoe pastry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. Whilst another commented, because they are, needs to be, because they are, needs to keep those toes warm during winter. So you apparently stick your feet into a steak bake. Times are hard. One user debunked the claims he wore steak bakes and said, "Bro, that's cheese and onion, get a grip." I mean, Alex, this is the end of the story. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. Unfortunately, it turns out that on this occasion, time travel hasn't been revealed.
It's not conclusive. It's not conclusive.
No, it's not. I mean, he may have, Henry VIII apparently may have gone forward in time to a chain of bakeries to stick some pastries on his feet. But Alex, we can't say definitively whether that is the case.
So you got another story for us there, Rob?
Yes. So this is from the Wales Online by Madeline Patrick from the 19th of January. Now, Alex, from one potentially supernatural event to another. This is of the ghostly variety, by the way. So a ghost soldier filmed sitting clear as day on bench next to War Memorial.
Well, I think if I was a soldier who died in war, presumably, and I had retained my what have I maintained my soul somehow in an ethereal, ghostly visage, I would want to visit the crematorium and pay respect not just to myself but to my fallen comrades. Yeah.
I mean, Alex, can I? I'm going to shock you for a moment.
You're a ghost.
There's a video on this. No. I'm just very pale at the moment. I've seen this video, Alex. I can't explain it.
Oh.
There is something to this video. If you look at it, it's actually quite intriguing.
This is the first ever time that we've recorded on anything ghostly and you have not been sceptical, Rob, or insulting, to be honest. So can I watch the video? When shall I watch the video?
So if you go to Wales Online, ghost soldier films sitting clear as day on bench next to War Memorial.
Is it possible it's a film that's been manipulated?
If it is, it's done very well.
Well, yeah. Okay. Right. So how do I get? So I need to turn off ad blocks. So shall I start by watching the video, or do you want to read a bit of it before I watch the video?
Start by watching the video, and then let me go some context first. So, chilling footage shows the ghost of a soldier sitting quietly on a bench next to War Memorial, appearing to be completely see-through. Josh Newton and friend George Moore, both 21, were driving through Northam, North Devon, on the way to a rented house where they were staying with Josh's family. However, as Josh took out his phone to film the statue on the World War I and World War II memorial, the engineer was in shock when he spotted what appeared to be a misty figure of a man sitting on a bench. The spooky video shows the outline of a translucent body sat down and staring nonchalantly straight ahead. So that's the context, Alex. Would you like to watch the video now?
Right, I've got it full screen. I'm watching it now. Sorry.
Listen, can I just say that Alex has a very perplexed look on his face? I don't know whether it's disbelief or skepticism.
I don't see anything there remotely intriguing. What I see is just some sort of atmospheric event. It almost looked like a bit of smoke, or that it's just the way the light was falling in that moment. I don't see anything there.
So you're saying there was an atmospheric ghostly figure.
No, I'm not saying it's
what you're saying. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Alex. It's going to be hard to disprove this.
Fine.
Yeah,
let's just go with it then. It's a fucking ghost on a bench.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we are. Conclusive proof that we have seen a ghost on a bench. And obviously go and look at that story. We don't need any further context than that.
Okay, Rob, another story here, which also involves a video, but, people can watch this in their own time, in a way. Okay. Should we both? Actually, no, I would like you to get it, because I haven't actually watched the video yet, so we could both watch it. It'd be amusing.
Fine,
From the Cornwall Live, and you will want to watch the video, as will our listeners, so maybe they can pull it out. It's also by Lee Trewella, again, features writer / senior reporter, from the 10th of February. Headline: get ready to stick it into Google, listeners and Rob. Incredible footage shows stunned Cornwall cyclist end up inside recycling lorry.
Okay.
Right, so before we watch the video, let's get the context here. Incredible footage has been shared online of a cyclist ending up inside a recycling lorry in Cornwall. The film shows the rider heading down a hill in Newlyn, being unable to stop and going over the handlebar straight inside the back of the vehicle, even taking the bike with him. I think we have to watch it, Rob, together.
Of course we do,
Have you got it ready? Have you got it ready?
I haven't got it ready. It's taken a long time to load this video for some reason. Don't quite know why.
Okay, I'll describe it for the listener. I'm watching a man on a bike. Oh,
Alex, I want to see this video.
It'll be on Twitter.
Not letting me see it?
It'll be on Twitter, won't it? Oh, God, Rob, it's so brilliant. It's basically, he's cycling down the road at full speed. The truck has stopped, and he just smacks into the back of it, goes over the top of the handlebars. The bike actually manages to somehow flip up into the air, and both of them end up inside the recycling truck, and I'm watching him wriggle around, dazed and confused, and that is quite brilliant. I recommend everybody watch that. Okay, Rob, look. Let's move on from that. Listener story of the week. Who's it from?
Right, yes. So, again, we've talked about it before that Kuiper seems to go the extra mile with these stories. So it is Kuiper again, I'm sorry to say. However, Kuiper, I would love to know how you
Thank you, Kuiper, but we will ban you. We have to ban you.
Yeah, we do,
unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
The other way forward.
That's how this works. So, Kuiper has found us a story from Confectionery News, which I didn't even know was the thing.
How is he doing this?
It's great. I mean, apparently, if anyone knows,
maybe Kuiper's a news agent, Rob.
Maybe. I mean, who's buying Confectionery News, Alex? Which, if anyone interested, is news and analysis on chocolate, candy, and coca. So
I find it very stimulating reading, Rob.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that obviously chocolate does release endorphins, so that's understandable.
Thank you.
So the story is by Anthony Myers from the 30th of February. Headline is authorities fine Mars Wrigley for factory accident after contractors fell into chocolate tank. Which would probably be a very harrowing accident, but that headline does make me laugh.
I mean, imagine falling into scalding chocolate. I'm not saying it's for scolding, but imagine falling into scalding chocolate, because two things would happen. One, the agonising sensation of the burns and knowing your life would be forever changed, but also there'd be the sweet and tasty chocolate. Yeah, it would be a strange sensation.
But obviously, the viscosity of chocolate would be a lot worse than water. Viscosity, is that the right word?
Yes, it would be very hard to swim in or keep yourself
exactly.
afloat. It would drag you down.
You'd be drowning in chocolate, Alex, which, some people would love, but ultimately it'd be quite harrowing. So, a confectionery giant has been fined £12,000 by US federal workplace authorities after 2 workers at one of his factories fell into a vat of chocolate and had to be rescued.
I'm just thinking of the Joker, Jack Nicholson in the Michael Keaton Batman, because I always remember that. He falls into the acid.
Well, I was going more Willy Wonka, where they were. Was it Augustus Gloop falls into the chocolate river?
I think you're right. He does, yeah.
So the incident occurred in June 2022, and the workers were contracted that did not have who did not work full-time in the factory. More than 24 rescuers responded to the incident at the Mars Wrigley factory in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, and 1 worker was transferred to hospital by helicopter, according to local media.
Just cut what dripped like just caked in chocolate, Rob.
Alex, we joke about this, but yeah, he may have come out, a chocolate version of himself. We've talked this podcast about the chocolate Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, he could have been encased in chocolate, Alex.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was not clear how they fell into the tank, but a hole had to be cut into the bottom of the partly full tank in order to pull them out.
Well, how did they fall into the tank? I mean,
I do wonder whether, because it does say they're contractors, whether they, just wanted a quick taste and just leaned too far over the railing.
Mm.
I mean, we're only human, Alex.
Yeah, you're right. We're all subject to temptation, Rob.
So the Occupational Safety and Health Administration report labelled the incident serious. It says the workers were hired to clean the tanks and were not provided with proper safety training, which seems like a massive oversight to me.
Well, I mean, I would hope the safety training probably would have been like, don't fall into the tank. Don't lean over so much that you fall in. So they were meant to clean it.
Surely the safety trainer would say, wait till the tank's empty first. Don't try and get in.
Don't try and clean a tank filled with chocolate until there's no chocolate in it.
Yeah,
it won't work.
Exactly.
Mainly, it would just be very, very frustrating experience.
Yeah, ultimately, it would be pointless. So, according to the OSHA, the workers were not authorised to operate the tanks, are also not sufficiently trained with the safety procedures surrounding factory equipment, which is good. So apparently, they were just left to do anything really. So the employees did not ensure that the employees had the knowledge of the type and magnitude and energy of the task. The host employer.
Sorry, read that again. I like that sentence. There's an episode title in there.
So the employer did not. The employer did not ensure that the employee had the knowledge of the type and magnitude of the energy for the task.
Okay, it's a bit of a strange collection of words as it turns out, but I enjoyed it anyway.
It noted that the workers fell into a batching tank, a tank used to mix ingredients for Dove chocolate, a brand sold in the US, in the UK, and everywhere else. Dove is sold as Galaxy. Did not know that.
Nor did I. I thought Dove was a soap. Listen, I didn't know if it's a mixing tank that could potentially be fatal, couldn't it? Because you'd think there'd be some sort of blades or mixing rotating thing in there.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to keep yourself afloat in thick, heavy chocolate? While at the same time being like, and not having your legs broken by, a massive turning. I don't know what it would be like a. We were talking about Noel's house party recently. I think if they ever reboot it, this could be a good. Remove the gunking and throw people into a vat of hot chocolate and see if they can get out.
Just call it death by chocolate.
Yeah, and you have I believe in miracles. In the background.
Brilliant. Yes, love it.
Okay, that brings this episode of LA Podcast 383 to a close. We're going to be back in a week's time on Patreon. So if you want more of this content, go to patreon.com. And so if you haven't already, look, anybody who listens to this podcast and enjoys it, we need you to be a supporter of this podcast, right? Just like you support a football team or whatever else. It's not exclusive. You can support other podcasts as well. But we would like you to support this podcast. You can do that by going to patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra and sign up to become a Patreon member. It's £1 a month, but you can contribute whatever you want a month. More if you wish to, and for doing that, for being a supporter, we've got a whole other podcast called LA Podcast and Extra Jab, and episodes of that will be delivered to your inbox every month, and you get access to the whole back catalogue of those episodes already there. They're brilliant. We love doing them. and we would really, really appreciate your support over there. And there will be a teaser trailer for the next LA podcast and Extra Jab coming up at the end of this episode, so listen to it. Rob, look, good luck with this move, mate.
Thank you.
You didn't tell me. I think I did ask you. Are you getting a man in a van? Are you getting Lyra to do it? I mean, it's only a 15-minute walk, so if you just sent her on trips back and forth, you could probably do it in... I mean, if you set her up on a schedule, she could probably do it over a period of about a week, I think.
Yeah, but she needs naps, Alex, and that really sort of cuts down our time.
You can't get the workers, no. So what are you doing? You haven't told me. Did you tell me?
I did tell you, Alex, yeah, but thank you for remembering as always.
You're stuffing it all into the back of a taxi cab.
Pretty much that, yeah.
Okay, good luck. Thank you for listening, everybody. God bless.
And keep it local.